All right, Sports Life fans, we about to break down the UFC 100 Fight Night, which is the Nogueira versus Bader rematch, part two. So we'll start with the early prelims. First fight, Francimar Barrosa versus Darren Stewart. Um, I got Darren Stewart winning this fight by TKO ground and pound. Stewart, he has to basically watch for the high left kick that comes from Barrosa. Barrosa's really good at that kick. But I think Stewart's superior striking and his ability to take the fight to the ground will prevail in this one. And like I said, I see him winning by TKO ground and pound. Who you got in this fight?
I got pretty much the same thing. I saw that Stewart had power on the stand up, and I think this fight he's gonna um, probably take Barroso to the ground and just ground and pound and then get the TKO in the first round.
Okay. Next fight, we got Pedro Munoz versus Justin Scoggins. Who you got in that fight?
I got Justin Scoggins winning that fight. I think Scoggins is scrappy. I think the speed of Scoggins will get past Munoz by decision. Um, yeah.
Okay. Um, I think this is an interesting fight between Munoz and Scoggins. Munoz is dangerous with submissions like the guillotine, and Scoggins he has really good stand up, but he can also fight on the ground. And I see Scoggins winning by a split decision. Next fight we got Luis Henrique versus Christian Colombo. I see Enrique getting this fight to the ground as well because Colombo, I see him as a one-dimensional fighter. He has knockout power in both hands though, but I think that is his only shot of winning this fight is to get a knockout. But I see Enrique winning this fight by decision. Who you got in that fight?
Um, I agree with the part you said about Colombo being one dimensional, but I think he'll lose the first round. But I think Enrique will get him to the ground, and I think the second round he's gonna be ready for the takedown, and I think he's gonna counter Enrique, and I think he'll get him to the ground and win by TKO in the second round.
Okay, so you got Colombo winning the TKO.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think he has a lot of power.
yeah, he does. He does. Um, Next fight we got Johnny Eduardo versus Manny Gamburyan. Um, who you got in that fight?
It it could go either way, honestly. It just depends on if Gamburyan shows up or if Eduardo shows up, because some fights Gamburyan should win, but then some fights Eduardo should win. Um, I think in the first round, I think it's gonna be a boring first round, and I think that Eduardo will hurt Gamburyan, get him to the ground, and I think he'll submit him in the second round or third round, late.
Okay. Um, I basically see this fight also ending up on the ground like for the other fights. I think Eduardo has really good stand up,
Yeah, he
but
does.
I think Gamburin is a little bit more well rounded.
Yeah.
I see him winning. I got Gamburin winning by getting a takedown and eventually getting a rear naked choke for a submission victory in that fight. So we disagreed on the last two fights. Next fight is Marcos Rogerio de Lima versus, I'm about to mess this name up, versus Gadzimurad Antigulov. And I think this one is a hard fight to call when styles make fights. De Lima has vicious leg kicks
Yeah.
and is explosive, has explosive like knockout power. And Tugalov is a well-rounded fighter that can strike, but also has a submission game as well. I think if Tugalov can get this fight past the first round, I see him wearing down DeLima and winning by submission. But if DeLima jumps out on him and lands something and hurts him early, and you get him out of there early, which is a lot of his fights are,
Hmm.
he can be able to pull it off. But I think Tugalov will have enough to survive, and I think if it goes into the later rounds, that's when he'll be able to wear down DeLima and slow him down. Who you got for that fight?
I got the opposite, but I think like you said, De Lima, if he wins, it's gonna have to be really early, and he's gonna have to hurt and take a off. But and Takeoff, he's a better fighter than De Lima in my opinion. Um, but I still think De Lima, he's gonna hit him with the leg kicks and hit him with combos, and I think he can hurt and take it off in the first round and knock him out.
So you see him getting it early.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I picked Antigolov, because I think that he is the better fighter. I think all around. But like you said, if he gets him early, then that's how Lima wins. But I think if it goes past and he can't get him early, I think Antigolov will get it.
If he can't get him early, it's done.
Yeah. Next fight we got Cesar Ferreira versus Jack Hermansson. I got Jack Hermansson winning this fight by knockout. If he can get the fight to the ground, then he could also win by submission. And I think he's well rounded. And that's my pick. I'm going with Jack Hermansson. Who you got?
I was going back and forth with this fight.
It's a tough one.
I like Ferreira. I remember him from The Ultimate Fighter in Brazil, I think.
Yes.
He won. I think he won that against Thiago Santos, who is another good fighter.
Yeah.
I want to say Ferreira by TKO in the third round, but then his problem is if people overwhelm him in the later or in the earlier rounds, he gets tired, and I think that Hermansson can do that. See, I said TKO, but I'm gonna go with decision for Hermansson.
Okay, so you're going with Hermansson.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said decision. I said I got him by submission or knockout.
Yeah.
Okay. Next fight we got Sergio Moraes versus Zach Otto.
Oh, that's a good fight.
Yeah, it is. I can't see how this fight also doesn't end up on the ground. I think it's gonna be a lot of ground fights. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fights ending up on the ground. Both of these guys are good at submissions.
Yes.
But I think Moraes is superior in my opinion.
He's gotten a lot better.
Yes, he has. And I see Ramirez winning by submission, maybe an armbar. If not, it'll go to decision. But I see him winning by submission in this fight. Who you got?
Moraes, he like I said, he's gotten a lot better. I mean, I remember when I first started watching UFC, he was fighting, and I didn't think he was that good. But then now I'm starting to watch. I see him now, and he's gotten a lot better from his past fights, and he likes to go to the ground, and I think that he can control Otto on the ground. But then Otto, he's dangerous on the stand up more, and he can go to the ground. But I got Moraes winning by submission in maybe the first or second round.
Okay, so we both got him by submission.
Yeah.
Warley Alves versus Kamaru Usman.
Oh.
Who you got?
I don't know, cause I think Usman. I think the power of Usman can take Alves down. I think if he gets Alves to the ground, I think he's gonna just ground and pound, and I think he'll do that each round. I think it's just gonna take time. I think he's gonna TKO Alves in the third round. But Alves, he's dangerous on his back. I've seen some of his fights where he would submit someone off his back whenever he was in danger.
Yeah. Alves, to me, he's a very slick fighter. He has decent stand up, and he also has a good submission game.
Yeah.
Usman is underrated, I think, in his stand up, but only because he's really good at wrestling, and he can take you down. He's known more for that, but I think his stand up is underrated. I see Usman winning this fight by split decision. I think it'll go to the cards, and we might see a lot of submission attempts. We see some grappling, and we'll see some stand up. I think in this fight we'll see a little bit of everything. Stand up, we're gonna see them go to the ground, a little bit of grappling, submission attempts, but I just think nobody will be able to get it, and I think he'll win by split decision. Next fight we got Thales Leites versus Krzysztof Jotko. This might be the first fight on the main one. Or did we already pass that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
But Tyler Slatus versus Christoph Jocko. This is really another tough fight to call, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Both of these guys are well-rounded fighters. Latest, he should try to get this fight to the ground, but Jocko has really good takedown defense, and I think that'll be the difference in this fight. And I think this is going to be another fight that'll go to decision. We'll get a little bit of everything, like I said in the last fight, stand up. They'll be on the ground some, and they'll trade around here and there. But I see this being a split decision for Jocko. Who you got?
Mm, I got Leites winning this fight.
I know you're a latest supporter.
I think he's more. I think he has more skills than Jocko, but then Jocko, like you say, he's a great defender of grappling, and I think Leites. I think he's going to get him in the clinch and just control him in the clinch with the knees and short elbows. I think he's just going to control Jocko completely, and I think he's going to get the decision win.
He's the more experienced fighter.
Yeah,
I'll definitely give him that.
he's very well rounded.
Yeah, he
Maybe
is.
one of the best well rounded fighters in the UFC.
Right.
Or in that division.
All right. Next fight, the only women's MMA fight on the card is Claudia Gadelha versus Courtney Casey. Now, I'm very excited to see Claudia return after her two disappointing losses to the champion Joanna. If Casey has a chance to win this, I would see it being by submission. But I think Claudia's superior grappling will probably prevail in this one. I'm going to go with Claudia with a unanimous decision. I like her style of fighting. I like her aggressiveness. And I only think there's one person at that weight class that can beat her, and that's the champion.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Claudia unanimous decision. Who you got?
I basically agree. I think Claudia, she's the second best fighter in that division, in my opinion. I think she's just gonna take Casey down to the ground and just control her. She's probably gonna try and get some submission attempts, some ground and pound. There'll be some clinch fighting in that match. I got Gadelha winning by decision easily.
Yeah, unanimous decision.
I don't think Casey can keep up with Gadelha.
All right, so next fight, Thomas Almeida versus Albert Morales.
Oh, that's a good fight.
Yeah, who you got for this one?
Morales. I like Morales, but then I like Almeida as well. Almeida has a sick stand up, but then he's dangerous on the ground.
Yeah.
And he's so long. Like he has great kicks. He has he has a great stand up. But I think this fight, he's gonna get Morales to the ground off of a head kick. I think he's gonna hurt him, and I think he's gonna just TKO him in the second round. But then I want to count out Morales because Morales, he's dangerous. If he wins, it will be by decision. I think he's gonna control him on the ground, or he can beat him on the stand up. Okay. I think Almeida will win.
So you're going with Almeida?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this fight, I'm not gonna blink for this fight because both of these guys are fast-paced, action-packed fighters.
Yes.
They bring it every fight. But I want to see how Almeida comes back off of being knocked out in his last fight, which was his first loss, first and only loss. Morales, he's been on a roll since he entered the UFC.
Yeah.
And I'm going with him to beat Almeida in the upset of the night. I think Morales has really good submission game, and I think he'll get him with an armbar and submit Almeida. So I'm going on a limb on that one. Because Almeida really should win because he's the more experienced fighter. But the fact that he lost by knockout, and Morales has been on a tear coming into the UFC. I think 5 of his last 6 fights have ended in submission. He's finished his last 5 out of 6 opponents. So I'm going to go with him with the upset. This might be a stepping stone for him to move up in his career.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count Thomas Almeida out though, because he's as dominant as you can think.
Yeah.
You know, when he's on his game. But all right, so we get to the main event of the card, which is Ryan Bader versus Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Little Nog, as he's known. Uh, I got. This was tough. I mean, I'm a big Nogueira. I'm a Nogueira fan. I like the Nogueira brothers. And Ryan Bader has really been fight. He's improved his game a lot in the last couple years, and you know he's gotten back on track. I think his last loss, if I'm wrong, was the Rumble. Was it Rumble that beat him last?
I think so.
It might have been Rumble that beat him last.
But then I thought he beat Rumble, but I don't.
No, I don't think he beat Rumble. I don't know. We'll have to check that after this. But I'm pretty sure I thought Rumble beat him.
Yeah, I think he did.
I think he beat Bader, and that might have been Bader's last loss, if I'm not wrong. But I'm a Nogueira guy, but I have to go with Bader. I think by decision. I think Bader won the first fight, and I think he will be able to win this fight. But I wouldn't count any of the Nogueira brothers out. Little Nog still has vicious stand-up, vicious power. He can knock you out standing up, and he has a good game off his back as well. But I don't know. I'm gonna go with Bader by decision. Who you got?
I could see this being a boring fight, honestly.
Yeah.
It could be a fight where you just sit there and watch them stand there and just throw little punches.
Or lay down on each other.
Yeah.
Bader laying on top of that Little Nog.
But if he does that, then Nogueira, he could easily submit him off his back.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be smart for Bader. If Bader wins, he's gonna have to knock him out in the first round, in my opinion. But then if he goes to the ground with Nogueira, he can submit him. Bader has improved a lot from whenever he first came into the UFC. He was just a guy that would either hurt you on the stand up, get you to the ground and just ground and pound. But now he's more skillful, and I think he can pull out the win by either decision or he can knock out Nogueira in the first round.
Okay.
But Nogueira, he's dangerous on the stand up.
So you got Bader.
Yeah, I got Bader.
Bader by knockout.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it, fight fans. Check out UFC 100 tonight, and let us know what y'all think.